This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Could this be the French cleat killer? I've got a problem, or actually several problems. I am an absolute slob in the shop. I have a singular focus when I'm making something. It's like a self-sabotaging tunnel vision where tools get tossed in a pile, excess material is strewn about, detritus builds up on the floor, and around me the clutter piles up to a point of shop uselessness. This presents many problems, but the main one is that I slow my own progress on the very project I very much want to bring into this world. Besides my own mental ineptitude to keep things organized as I work, this hints of a stink of another serious problem I have in the shop. I have very little to no organizational structure. I also have a major problem with my medieval workbench. In fact, that's the issue that precedes all others. I've been trying to build a bookshelf and I wound up trying to hand plane some pieces to laminate. You can criticize me on my hand planing technique later. This workbench has been a problem for some time, but just like the organizational problems, I prefer to focus on my projects rather than the surrounding environment. But the bookshelf that I was focused on volunteered me for another side project because I can't complete it without addressing the workbench. So now, instead of building a bookshelf, I'm building a workbench. The project creep is real. So, to reiterate, I have a very shaky, semi-ugly workbench that I built nigh on 20 years ago. It was made from a door I salvaged or, dug out of the trash from the art building in the university I was attending at the time.
Nothing like the first cup of dumpster juice in the morning.
This door has an ugly veneer, but it's my veneer. It's almost purplish pink, but there is a history to it. It's my history. Sure, I could make a new countertop and put a fancy laminate on it to make it sexy, but I'm a nostalgic old fool. Our history is what makes us, and I'm not really in a hurry to discard one that means so much to me. I want this countertop to tell a story when my making is done of all the wins, failures, breakthroughs, and battles that I have fought to get to the end. So, ugly as it is, I don't have to build a countertop, but I do have some ideas how to graft some new life onto it to make the next chapter in its story. And I think you might benefit from this idea as well. And no, it's not T-Track, but it is similar. I kind of look at it as T-Track's big brother, even though they are probably both known as technically extruded aluminum due to the process of making them. As I've mentioned before, I am a manufacturing engineer for my day job, although some people question my credibility due to the messy nature of my shop. I'm trying to fix it, okay? Moving on from a gentle nod to the trolls living under the bridge, where was I? Oh yeah, I'm an engineer for my work. I mention this not only to try to scrape together a little credibility here on YouTube, but to clarify where I'm coming from. One of my main goals is to try and help people here on my channel, and as an engineer, I may have seen things that the general audiences may not have seen, and I hope it might be helpful. Manufacturing plants use extruded aluminum all the time. It is used for enclosures, for automation, making tables, organizational structures, actual products, and many other things. It is modular, super strong, completely customizable, and infinitely adaptable. I decided to incorporate extruded aluminum into the shop, and I'm really glad I did because the possibilities are truly endless. That and it structurally reinforces this old door that I am illogically attached to. It's a win-win. The extruded aluminum needs to frame out the outside of the door and extend out one end to support another nostalgically relevant part of my shop. This is a crappy table saw. It works, but not terribly well. I inherited it from my grandfather and I'm trying to make it work at all costs. The main gripe I've had about it is the fence, but along that, the blade is not square to the top table, making it previously impossible to make super straight cuts. This is yet another project creep from making the walnut bookshelf for my son that I'm incorporating into this workbench build. With this extruded aluminum, I can build a square frame and square the blade up to the outside framework, leaving the main body of the table saw askew. But keeping this askew will actually straighten the blade to the fence I will make. This is a lot of effort to keep something that should probably be tossed out, and although people probably think I'm making that big YouTube money, it doesn't pay like you think, and I have better things to upgrade at the moment for when I do have money. That being said, if any cabinet-grade table saw brands want to make a deal, I'm all ears. With the blade square to the frame, I'm primed to make my own table saw fence, which will be a combination of 3D printed parts and another double high extruded aluminum piece similar to what I used on my router fence project. If the router fence build looks interesting, you should check it out after this video. So here is the CAD preview of what the fence should look like, but for now I'm trying to finish up the extruded aluminum framework. I knew that when I put the extruded aluminum on, that I had open rein on 3D printing anything I wanted to bolt to these when I was finished. I also know I'm not stuck with any fixture I create. I can create and evolve my organization as I see fit. As I have conceived this workbench, I have found myself reflecting on things that Adam Savage says about shop organization. One of the main things he says is a Buddhist teaching that can be paraphrased as, it's not a conundrum to solve, it's a process to be managed. This saying can generally be applied to life, but it is particularly relevant for building a shop, at least to me. If I tried to organize my shop today and you told me I would have to keep it that way until I die, I would freeze under the pressure. I wouldn't be able to decide. Things that are true today will change tomorrow for me. Eventually, as I try to build this shop and this YouTube channel, I want to incorporate mediums of all kinds. This includes welding, machining, jewelry techniques, forging, casting, and anything else that my meandrous whimsy allows. So to organize a multivariant, multidisciplinary, and consistently growing shop, the modularity of this extruded aluminum combined with 3D printed fixtures is, to me, the ultimate expression of what I need. When you branch into 3D printed organizational structure, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Gridfinity. Let me just say that this video is part 1 of the Workbench build series and that Gridfinity will play a major role in the drawers and the internal structures of this workbench. I will be designing this custom system on the external side of the bench to hold things for first order retrievability, another savagism, and Gridfinity will be the base for my internal storage. I have many items that I've designed to hold hammers, pliers, Allen T-handles, screwdrivers, bits, and even, yes, a cup holder. The possibilities are endless. As my process changes, so will my fixtures. I can make my bench what I need at any time with this system, and I don't see it restricting me for any time to come. I could, theoretically, see other people adopting this as a system for their shop. I plan on using this on walls and other vertical surfaces in the shop as opposed to French cleat systems from now on. That being said, the 45mm extruded aluminum I used isn't exactly cheap, but it is accessible if you want to commit to this as an expandable system in your shop. I'm curious what you guys think, and please let me know in the comments. I'm very curious what feedback you might have. As always, it will be a personal choice. Some may hate it and insult my mother, others indifferent, and some may actually like it. I am genuinely curious what all of you think. One thing I was a little reluctant about is how to fill these gaps on either side of the table saw. I had some 1/2-inch aluminum that I could cut, and I'd heard you could cut it with a skill saw before, and it kind of made sense because knowing my tooling, table saw blades are tipped with carbide. Carbide is harder than aluminum, therefore it should cut. And actually this turned out pretty well. The surface quality of the cut was actually pretty good. And as long as I fed it slow enough and used water as a little bit of lubrication and debris clearing medium, I really didn't have any problems cutting the aluminum with this. But I would say if you don't have a sense of feeds and speeds for cutting aluminum and listening to the metal as you try to cut with this, I don't know if I'd recommend it for the beginner.
Boom.
Yes, while you're sitting there doom scrolling, you're hanging your mouth open and mouth breathing. I do it too. But you know when you don't mouth breathe is when you're actually engaging your mind and trying to do something better for yourself. Brilliant helps build your critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorizing. So while you're building real knowledge on specific topics, you'll also become a better thinker. Learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for your personal and professional growth. Brilliant keeps you on track to reaching your learning goals one day at a time. The Brilliant app makes it easy to learn anywhere with fun, hands-on lessons. Whether you're diving into a new topic or doing a quick practice section, you can level up at home or on the go. Try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. Visit brilliant.org/themeandrousengineer or scan the QR code on screen, or you can click the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. So instead of doom scrolling, how about you go check out Brilliant and check out some of their lessons, and you might actually challenge yourself. And for all you know, you might be better empowered to make your life better and to be a better maker. The end of this is some valuable real estate for sure. One of the gifts my wife got me a couple years ago is the plaque for the Starship Enterprise, and I'm a big Next Generation nerd, so I'm thinking about mounting this on the end. But what I plan on doing is actually doing rows of extrusions, which I can mount my tooling to here as well. So I don't necessarily want to give up this valuable real estate, but this is a sense of personality that I want to have here in the shop anyway, so I think that's important too. And I'm going to map all this stuff out first. I plan on sanding all this and painting it. I have a color I picked for the whole workbench except for the drawers and the door facing. I'm going to do regular wood on that, possibly even some hardwood if I feel fancy. And so I'm going to map everything out on this first, and then I'll go back and paint it, and then I'll put it back on here as well. I just kind of want to get it all mapped out, mostly because I'm excited for the tooling mount versions of everything. I want to get my tooling system here and kind of map it out. I'm really excited about that part. And I also just want to get it working before I paint, so I don't scuff up the paint putting this stuff on. So I'd rather have holes and stuff ready to go and just put it back on right where I had it. And I can draw all over this and map it out the way I want to. I might have to get some clips to hold it on eventually because I'll be pushing this desk around and back, but that'll be nice to have a little flair on this thing.
Let's get the hell out of here. Hanson, warp 2 now.
So I have these extrusions here, and I made these blocks to cap on the end of these to screw it in place on the wood. So it'll have a 12 millimeter socketed cap screw at the end, and then I'll have one on each end, and then they'll fasten to the end of the workbench. And then I can put whatever tools I want within this track, kind of like T-track, but hopefully better. Definitely more industrial. To the saw. The beautiful thing about these extrusions is that they come with a pre-sized hole for a certain size metric thread typically. This is sized for an M12, so I'm going to do an M12 tap, and then I can screw these on and mount it to the end. I 3D printed these guys that have locator pins so that it fits within these little radii here, and I can locate it on here, and it fits. It can't twist or do anything, and it screws on through here. And that's how 3D printing helps in your shop. You can make your custom mounts and all kinds of stuff. It's an intermittent cut because they didn't make it a solid hole when they extruded it. So it's just cutting one piece at a time. So it comes across as a little choppy. And this guy's not mounted yet either. The horrors of working on your workshop bench is that you're in mid situation on everything you're doing, yet you still need the tools that you're trying to build for. I showed it in my router fence video. Another thing I've been working on is some Allen driver handles that resemble Bondus drivers, but they actually convert a typical right angle Allen wrench into a spinnable screwdriver tool. So it's something I've been using in the shop, and I actually like them quite a bit. In the middle of building this, I got my parts from Send. I've heard about these guys for a long time. All you have to do is send a DWG or DXF and they'll cut it out of lots of various materials. And their turnaround time is actually pretty quick. I needed this stainless steel to help reinforce the 3D printed handle for the table saw fence, and I couldn't help but embellish my logo on there a little bit. So sue me. Call me egotistical. First test of the system. Now this isn't even close to done, because as I continue to evolve this system, I'm going to keep developing new components for this modular system to organize all the tooling that I want to keep at the forefront and center of my shop that I need to have on a regular basis. And as I kind of massage that into what really works for me, I kind of mentioned at the first of the video how I may have experience in manufacturing that other people may not have seen. This is kind of like a 5S principle to a certain degree, although I don't have labeling and clear shadows of tooling in their locations, because I really don't want to be held down to where it's going to go. But the fact that it has specific locations for things to go, and I can visually inspect when tools are missing, I can hopefully keep track of all this, help me tame my mess. It'll also easily help me get tools from the top and put them back where they go as I work. So all my consistently used tooling will be over here, and it should be nice. This modular system, the possibilities truly are endless, and I really look forward to expanding on this. Now obviously the workbench isn't finished. I still have to do drawers over here, and I have all the internal guts to work with. I still have to put the leveling feet on the bottom of this guy that'll keep it not only stable, because I have swivel casters all underneath this, and those don't really lock really well enough for me to have activities like hand planing up top. So I'm going to use these rubber feet to level the table and hold it in place, and also grip the floor so they won't move around very much. And I'm going to use that angle iron to hold these in place. So stay tuned for that as well. I also still have to finish the table saw fence, which is almost there. And I also can't finish the insides of this till I finish the table saw fence. So that's going to be part of the next video too. All right, stay tuned. Hopefully this will be interesting for everybody. I'm going to keep working on it, and we'll see where it goes. Until next time, keep trying to be a better maker, keep learning, keep trying to think of possibilities to think outside the box.